All right, so you have money burning a hole in your pocket and you're thinking, hey, I want to buy a Leica. A, where do you work and are they hiring? But B, I'm going to convince you that you actually might want a different camera and maybe even spend that money somewhere else altogether. I think there are a lot of places that you can put that money that will not only get you a new camera, but also make your street photography better and more fun. Now, before I get a bunch of hate from the Leica fan club, they are really nice. Every knob, every button, every piece of the user experience feels super premium, but they are pretty expensive. So with that out of the way, let's figure out how much does a Leica cost so we can use that for our budget, and I can tell you how I would rather spend that money. So let's head to B&H or any camera provider of your choice, and I want to look at a Leica M11P. It has the blacked out logo, so when you're out in the streets flashing old ladies in the sidewalk, you look extra stealth, and that is about $10,000. And if we pair that bad boy with the Leica 35mm Summicron f2 APO thing, that lens is about $9,000. So we're looking at a grand total of $19,000, which I think is more than my car. So while we're here, let's go find out. And if we look at the Kelly Blue Book value of my 2017 Subaru Forester, it is worth about $17,000 on a good day. So yeah, that feels like a little bit too much. I don't know anyone in real life who's actually paid that much for their Leicas. So let's take a look at Reddit and see what people have paid for their Leicas. All right, $5. That's a price I can do. Heck, I can even get 2 of them and buy a case of beer and we're still up. Obviously, that is not a realistic price. This person got super lucky and it's not a price that you're probably gonna be able to find. So let's look at something a little bit more reasonable. So I found a Leica M10 for about $5,000. Which again, we're in the Leica-verse, that's a pretty reasonable price point. I also found a Voigtlander 35mm for about $600, which puts our total budget for this experiment at around $5,600. I'm gonna say we actually bump it down to $5,000 so we can actually beat the price of a Leica and get you way more value for that money. So I'm gonna walk you through 4 different options on how I would spend that $5,000 to both get you a new camera, improve your street photography, improve your photo workflow, and just generally make photography more fun and hopefully even give you more time to get out and do some street photography. So without further ado, let's dig into it. Option number 1, I'm calling this one the complete upgrade. This option gets you a brand new camera, a brand new computer, a RAID system, and a year of cloud storage, all for less than the price of the Leica or our $5,000 budget. So I'm going to recommend you get the Nikon ZF with one of the Voigtlander prime lenses. This is a Leica killing combo. It's so good. You get all of the manual controls that you would with a Leica. It also has a flippy screen on the back, which before everyone gets up in arms about it, is perfect because you can flip it over and it turns into a Nikon M11D. And the best part about this whole combo is that the Voigtlander lens is chipped. So it actually talks to the Nikon camera and you can get a little green box that appears when you hit critical focus, which is so much more accurate than anything else I've ever seen. It beats a rangefinder, it beats focus peaking. It really is an awesome way to shoot because you get both zone or range focusing and you can use critical focus with a manual lens. So the next upgrade in this package that you should get is a MacBook Pro. If your current computer sounds like an Apache attack helicopter when you're starting up Lightroom, it's done. It takes way too much time and adds so much frustration to work with Lightroom when you're on a slow computer. So if you get a MacBook Pro or a modern PC, you're gonna have faster loading times, you're gonna have a better screen so your photos look more accurate, and you're just gonna have a generally better time editing photos when you come home after shooting all day. So it's a win-win. You get a more enjoyable experience with the new camera, and you get to actually enjoy editing when you get home. Now this next upgrade is pretty boring, I'm not gonna lie, but I think as part of this package, it's so essential. It's buying a RAID or a NAS. And if you don't have one of these already, you might as well just delete your photos now. This is one of the best ways and most secure ways to store your photos. What this does is it has multiple hard drives inside of it, and when you save stuff to it, it saves them to multiple hard drives. And so if one hard drive were to fail, you still keep all of your photos. You can get a RAID system with 2 hard drives that are both 8 terabytes, so they mirror each other. So when you save to one, it saves to both of them for about $500. And I feel like that's such a killer deal for that level of data protection. And with the last $100, I recommend you get a 1-year subscription to Backblaze. This way you have a backup copy on your RAID system at home and you have one in the cloud. And for only $100, it backs up not just your photos, but everything on your computer. So you get all of your stuff, all of your life documents, everything that you have protected in the cloud. So option 2 is the Traveler. This is, you get a new camera and you get a trip to pretty much anywhere in the world. Obviously within reason here, there's still budgets, but to a lot of places in the world, given how much leftover budget you're gonna have when we purchase this camera. So I'm gonna recommend you get the Fujifilm X Pro 2. It's about $1,000 used, but it is a really nice camera. It's one of the few cameras that has an optical viewfinder that isn't a Leica, but has that Leica feel. And the cool thing is, it has a lot of the same features. You have the manual controls up top on it. You have the optical viewfinder, which is huge, with frame lines for lenses up to a 28mm equivalent. And it has a variety of f2 primes that are pretty affordable. You can get f2 primes for about $300 used, so you can build out a full kit. I have maybe 4 or 5 of them, all in the focal lengths that I want, and I can play around with them and build a kit that I want and choose which lenses I want to take with me on which trips or do whatever with, which I think is a great deal considering lenses are a large portion of the cost in owning a camera. So if we're doing the Traveler, you got to get somewhere. So I'm gonna put about $1,000 towards a round trip ticket to somewhere, wherever you want to go. If you're located in the United States, $1,000 gets you pretty much anywhere in the US, anywhere in Canada, and a large swath of Latin America is coverable under $1,000. And if that doesn't get you excited, dude, book a call with your therapist and figure out what's wrong with you, because being able to go anywhere in the world, or not anywhere, but a decent part of the world for $1,000 is pretty darn good. So with the remaining $2,700, I'm gonna allocate all of that to lodging. And I know that sounds like a lot of money to spend on lodging, but I'm gonna recommend that you spend all of that and stay as long as you can somewhere. Stay a month, maybe 2 if you can afford it. I think it's huge to be able to spend an extended period of time somewhere else. And I know not everyone can do this. Not everyone works remote. Not everyone has that amount of time off. But if it's available to you, you should abuse it and be able to go to a new place and try and take some photos. It sparks so much new inspiration in your photography, as well as presents you with a lot more challenging scenarios, stuff that you wouldn't normally see where you normally shoot. And it forces you to grow your eye and expand how you think about composing your shots, which when you come back will carry over into your normal shooting. So the Traveler is a grand total of $5,000, and with that you get a new camera, a new lens, maybe a couple since they're not crazy expensive, a round trip ticket to somewhere where you want to go, and a stay as long as a month or more, which you can't really beat. So that's an option I think is really good, especially if you have all the things in the complete upgrade option that I presented to you earlier. So option 3, I'm gonna call the Learner. This gets you a new camera, a trip, and mentorship with an incredible photographer. So this one might actually be my favorite because it combines the best of all of these options. And it's one I haven't been personally able to do and really would like to do. So without further ado, let's pick our camera. So in this option, I'm gonna recommend you to pick up the Fujifilm X Pro 2 again, or the X100 or the Fujifilm X Pro 3. I think those are all great rangefinder options, or rangefinder-esque options, that can get you a camera that's cool, that you like to use, and are not gonna break the bank, because we're gonna spend that money a little bit elsewhere. Now that you have your camera, I'm gonna recommend that you apply to and hopefully get into the Alex Webb and Rebecca Norris Webb workshop in Oaxaca, Mexico. It's an incredible opportunity to spend a week with one of the best photographers who ever lived. Those two have put out a ton of work that is in galleries all over the country, probably all over the world. They've published great photo books. I mean, if you've ever looked at The Suffering of Light, it's practically a Bible for street photography in terms of how good those photographs are and how foundational they've been for everyone learning the craft. So for $2,500, you get to spend a week with these people in a beautiful place, and it seems like a no-brainer. And with the last $1,000, I'm gonna say put that towards your flight and lodging. Fortunately, if you're from the United States, Oaxaca is not as expensive as rent here is, and you could probably find an Airbnb and a flight for a week for about $1,000. If you're from other countries, it may be more costly, or if you're from Oaxaca, it'd actually be pretty cheap because you already live there. So spend that $1,000 on getting a few more lenses for your Fuji system, or pocket it and get yourself a nice dinner, or maybe a couple nice dinners. So this in total costs about $5,000 to get a new camera, a cool trip to Oaxaca, and to spend a week with 2 incredible photographers mentoring you on how to take better photographs. Obviously, this one's a little unlikely because you have to actually apply and successfully get into the workshop, but it's not impossible. Plenty of people do it, and you don't have to do their workshop only. There are plenty of other workshops. I presented you one of the more premium options I could find, but there are plenty of photographers, especially if they're photographers you like, that you can choose to do their workshop. So don't be limited to just this. Think about who you like and see if they're offering programs for you. And at last, we have option 4. Buy the damn camera. Buy a Leica. If you have the financial means to get one and you've gone through all the previous options we've just talked about, or you're not interested in some of the things in the previous options, go ahead and get it. Life's short, the camera's cool, it's definitely sweet. I'm not gonna say it's worth it, but it kind of is. If we do some ridiculous, depraved street photographer math, if I spend about $5,000 on that camera and I shoot maybe, let's say, 10 hours a week, so let's say an hour after work every day and maybe 5 hours on the weekend, if I divide the cost of the camera by the time I spent shooting it over 5 years, it will have cost me less than $2 an hour, which, I don't know, what else do you do for $2 an hour? There's not many forms of entertainment that are that cheap. Like if I go to a movie, that could be 20 bucks. If I buy a beer, it's like $8. $2 an hour? I could do that. Obviously, this is some insane street photography math and you're just trying to justify a really fancy camera, but you know, you could justify it. Obviously, I'm just some dude on the internet. So this is just my opinion, but it is something I see a lot of, where people will buy fancy new equipment in hopes that their photography gets better. And the reality is most cameras, especially in 2026, are pretty darn good. And your money's almost better spent taking a workshop where you're gonna learn how to improve your eye, how to understand composition, how to understand light, or going on a nice trip and getting a new experience, finding more challenging compositions, or just improving your workflow at home and improving your storage, because if your photos get deleted or you lose them, then it's like they didn't exist. Obviously you have the memories, but you also want the compositions and the things you spent time learning and working on. So these are just options for you. Obviously, if you have the means and the cameras are exciting to you, get new gear. And new gear is, exciting and fun, and you can also might need new gear at some point. But if you don't, think about how you can better spend your money to maximize your time actually making street photographs, actually going out and seeing new things. And I think you're gonna enjoy that way more than having a fancy camera. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and leave me a comment down below if you think you have better ways to spend this money, if you disagree with any of my suggestions. And until the next time, I'll see you in the streets. See ya.